Welcome, welcome. My hair's kind of being weird. There we go. All right. So, welcome to today's Success Meetup. My name is Christina Hampton. I get to be your trainer and your host for today. I am usually here on Thursdays, not always, but that just tends to be the day that I'm here with you. If you have not been to a Success Meetup, you can register for them in a couple ways. One is by scanning that QR code that you see on your screen there. If you scan that code, that is going to take you to our registration page, and you can sign up to either get reminded about all of the sessions, or you can sign up to just like specific dates that you might be interested in. You can also register from right within KV Core in our live training calendar, because we have these 3 times a week. You'll pick your time zone. So I'm Pacific. And then you can see like what time and what days they're on. So they're on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'm not going to make you guess. And they are at 11:30 Pacific time. And so same thing, if I click on that link, click here to register, I can then choose to register for one or all of the sessions. Now, another question that I get a lot is, how do I find the recording? So you can find the recordings in a couple different ways. One, we always post it in our Facebook group once they kind of process through. So join our Facebook group in order to get the recording. Also, usually in our Facebook group, we announce the actual topic a week ahead of time. So that way you can see kind of, okay, is this something that's relevant to my business or not? So definitely recommend joining that group. I just put that link into the chat for those of you who are here live. And additionally, you can also follow our YouTube channel as well. We have a very specific playlist for the KV Core Success Meetups. We have, I think we just hit a couple hundred. Yeah, we're at 110 videos on this YouTube playlist on our channel. So we have a couple different playlists, but this one's specific for today. So you can like always, there's always good content here. So if there's something else that you wanted to learn about, enhancing your website and your settings, maximizing daily call creation, so different things like that, there's tons of information here. So lots of good stuff. And if you want something a little bit more structured, then you'll probably want this Mastering KV Core playlist. So I'll put that into the chat as well if you're here live. There you go. So that's like very structured, whereas these success meetups are less structured. So we always start with a topic. I'm going to talk today about powering up your automation. So how can you get the most out of the automations in here? We have other sessions for those of you who are less fans or not as big of fans of our automations and want to do things more manually. That's fine too. The key is to make sure you're actually doing the follow-up. I'm a big fan of taking things off my plate, hence the automations. But there's lots of different ways that you can follow up with your leads and your contacts in KV Core. So I'm going to talk about automations that are in place. So we're going to talk probably about 35 minutes today. It's a little longer one, probably 40 minutes to be honest with you. And then we open it for all Q&A. So during the structure, please keep your questions like a little bit more on topic. And then we'll do all questions at the end. Feel free to put whatever question you have in the chat though. So if you want to talk about landing pages, put that in the chat. I just won't answer it until we get to the end of the day. Yeah, and that's how these success meetups work. So cool. Alrighty. So we're going to talk about the available automations within KV Core, and there are a lot of them. We do not get to go over all of them today, but pretty much all of them do have a session here on this Success Meetup playlist. Most of them have had like at least an hour dedicated to reviewing it, so it's probably on there already. We are going to talk about the big three. It's not an official name for it. It's what I call it, and some of the other trainers, like what 3 automations really make the other things more powerful, and where should that, so that should be your focus. So what are they? Why are they important? Who needs them? And how do you add them if they're missing from your lead or your contacts? So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to use a lot of different tools today. We're going to use our dashboard. We're going to use our smart CRM filters, so where all of our leads live and how to filter and sort through them all to find our target audience. We're going to talk about the contact record, so that one person and their details, and then business analytics, so we can kind of find where the holes are in our follow-up system and where we might want to plug those holes. So, okay, doesn't want to go to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so KV Core is designed, a healthy pipeline. You want to be filling it up with people, more people every day, leads and contacts, people in your system. And then as you're following up with them, as you're, nurturing them, you want to have these kind of three concepts. You want to have a follow-up system. You want to have consistent nurturing, and you want to have speed to lead when it's important to talk to them. And we do all of those things for you in KV Core. So follow-up system, like an actual day one, send this email, day two, I should call, day three, send this text. Follow-up systems, we call those smart campaigns. So smart campaigns are pre-created follow-up systems. We have a ton in here for you. We'll do really light level of smart campaigns because we have, I think I counted, we have 5 hours of smart campaigns in this Success Meetup playlist. So we're going to do kind of a high level today. And then you want to be, so that's getting them to engage with you. That's sending them a text, hoping for a response, calling them to have a conversation. That's the engagement portion. The consistent nurturing, that is dripping on them with real estate data. You are nurturing them and building their trust in you. So we accomplish that by search alerts and market reports. We are giving them data that they are, potentially going to be interested in. Right now, there's also speed to lead. So speed to lead comes up all the time, all over the place, making sure that you are reaching out when people are reaching out to you, making sure that you are reaching out to your new leads quickly, making sure you're aware when someone has asked questions. And that's really where like our notifications and our smart campaigns come in as well. So all of this works together. We're consistently nurturing and building trust. We're consistently reaching out to get a response. And then when you do get a response, we notify you like, hey, you got this text, you should pay attention to it and reach out to them, that kind of a thing. Alrighty. So lots of automation. Okay, feel free to take a screenshot here. Again, all of these have it like about an hour on these success meetups. So we aren't going to go over all of them in depth today. But you'll see the three that are highlighted: the search alerts, the market reports, and the smart campaigns. Those are the big three that I was mentioning. So these are like the big three that make everything else more powerful. So let's dissect just one example here. Does anyone have one of these other ones you want me to like dive in as an example? You can just put it in the chat or raise your hand. Whoever's first is going to win. Otherwise, dealer's choice. I'll pick one. All right. We will talk about behavioral automations because that's one of Christina's top 2 favorite features. My other favorite feature is daily call creation. So just kidding. I'm going to talk about that because that's my favorite feature. So daily call creation is where KV Core will schedule phone calls for you to make based on opportunities that you might be missing, right? And it's not quite that vague, it's very specific. So it's going to schedule a call if a contact has triggered a behavioral alert on your website in the last 24 hours, but you haven't called them in the last week. If a contact has viewed a property in the last 6 months and you haven't called them in the last 30 days. If they're new, but you haven't called them. If you've never called them, they've responded to a text, etc. So if you look at this, 2 of these are based off of activity on your website. And their star rating increases when they go on your website. So really like 2.5 or 3 of these are based on activity on your website. So out of 6 behaviors, about half of them have to do with people re-engaging with your website. So in order to get more and more calls scheduled for you, some opportunities for you to engage, you want to have more and more people being consistently sent back to your website. And so that consistent nurturing piece, which is done with search alerts and market reports. So the more people who are on search alerts, the more powerful your daily call creation is. The more people who are on search alerts, the more powerful your seller reports are. The more people on search alerts, the more powerful your behavioral automations are, right? The more these things will be working for you. So that's why we want to power those things up. So those big 3, those search alerts, market reports, and smart campaigns, I'm going to show you how to see who's not on them, how to add them if they're missing, and how to make some really easy edits. Again, we won't go all the way into smart campaigns today because we have, I believe, 5 hours of them. We'll do just like really, really kind of basics. So first, how to see who is or who is not on these big 3. Right? So you can see that within each lead record. The record is like their whole history that you have with someone. And so you can find the record anywhere that you see the lead's name. So for example, just looking on my dashboard here, I can see Christina and I can see Dan, and I have a call scheduled for Charlie. So anywhere I see someone's name, I can click on them and I can find their contact record. So that's one way to find a contact record. The next way is to kind of search for them up in the top section. There's this magnifying glass. So anytime I click on that, I can search for a person. I can look for their name. I can look for their phone number. And I can look for their email address here. So if I wanted to find someone based on their email, there we go. There's Christina Realsies. Perfect. Here's her profile. I can also, the third way to find this is to go to my Smart CRM. So my Smart CRM is where all of my leads live. Every single lead is on here. So my dashboard is like who's active, who should I be talking to? And my Smart CRM is everybody, because I might have cold leads or my sphere. Like I got all kinds of people here. So anywhere, again, that I see someone's name, it takes me to their contact record. So I can click on Ophelia. I can click on Whitney. I can click on Marielle. And all of those things will open up their lead detail record. I can also search. So here I can search for their name, email address, phone number, and I can actually search for their property address if I have that in their profile. So like if I know, oh, not that one. Oh, wrong one. If I have their address, apparently I don't have any addresses today off the top of my head that I could think of, but I can look for their address here too. So all of those will help me find their contact record. So I'm going to show you on an individual how you can see those big 3. And then I'm also going to show you that you can actually filter through all of your contacts. So you don't have to go one by one and kind of like give them a health checkup. You can actually filter and just say, okay, KV Core, show me everyone not on a search alert. And then I'm just going to work down that list. Right? Show me everyone not on a smart campaign and let's work down that list. Show me everyone not on a market report and let's work down that list as well. So I am going to pick on Jennifer here. And I see that Jennifer is in my sphere of influence. She's a homeowner. I have a couple hashtag examples from her. If I scroll down, I can see her source. So she's from my networking group. In the center, I see my timeline. So I can see a search alert email that was sent to her, some smart campaign activities, checking in. She's also on a market report. So she is probably going to already be on all 3 of my big 3. So this is where I can see the activity, right? So if I want to actually view this email, so this is a search alert email, if I click view here, it's going to open up and actually show me what the search alert email looks like. So this is to Jennifer Smith. This is my company logo. So it won't say that for you. It'll be your company. So we have found one new property that matches your search criteria. Below are some of the more recent properties, and you can always click here to view all the properties in the search. So here's my one property. This is the one new one that has gone onto the market since the last alerts that were sent to Jennifer. Now she can click on this singular property and open that single property up on my KV Core website, or she can use this click here and she can look up all properties that meet her search criteria. So she's already on an alert, right? Annie, great question. You will not be getting a recording sent to you specifically. However, if you either join our Facebook group or subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll see when the new recordings are posted. Great question. And I'll throw those links back into the chat right now, since you're asking. There you go. Okay. So here is all the searches. So, not very many. I've got 3 properties that meet this criteria. And then here's the one specific property that she could view from that one email that was sent her way. Now, underneath that, this is a Smart Campaign email. I happen to know that because I'm very involved. I know our Smart Campaigns very well, but you would know this because you could say, okay, I didn't send that email. Like it was a sent email and it's not a search alert and it's not a market report and I didn't send it. So it's a Smart Campaign, right? There's only 2 things that would be sent to you. Smart Campaigns, which is this, or behavioral automation, which you would have been notified about. So, the 4 things I might see here, okay, it's not a search alert. It's not a market report. I wasn't alerted that this happened. So it's a Smart Campaign. So I can view this email too. Thanks for visiting our site. Are you considering selling your home? If you want, we'd be happy to prepare you an even more in-depth market analysis so you can see what a buyer might pay in today's market. Regards. And then this is my really long email signature. So this is the default that's added on this first email that's sent out. And then this is my signature that I added in my profile. So just to kind of break down what you're seeing there. Yeah, so those are actually, and here's the other big 3. Let's just show you that. So the market report is going to send an email to Jennifer, but it also shows you the report right here if you just want to see the report. So you can click view and see the report. Our logo is huge. I should submit that to support. We just must have it in there weird. But here's a local update for this zip code. So market reports can be city, zip code, county, area, or neighborhood. If you're in Canada, area, neighborhood, and city all still the same, but you have postal code and province available to you. So it's going to show you in the last 30 days, okay, we have less homes on the market in this zip code. We have an increase though in like new listings. It just means that things aren't like selling as quickly, right? Here's the average list price versus the average sold price. So we're listing for more, but we are selling for less. And then it also gives them a list of some recently listed homes in that zip code. So that's the area we picked. Some recently sold homes, some of the most popular listings, and the most expensive listing. So we're just trying to get them to interact with us and show that they're opening the emails and things like that. Now, if they want to view all the listings, they can. And if they want to view the whole report on my website, they can do that too. Viewing the report on my website, it does look like pretty much the same as in the email. It's really not very different. Sorry, my internet is really slow. So that'll load. There we go. So this is going to show them. So this is today's market report. So you can see that that's a little different. Whereas the email that I sent, it says, okay, this is the day it was like created and reported on. So even though this email went to them on the 15th, she clicked on it today, she being me. So here it is as of today. So they're getting the right now market report. All right, so those are the big three. I love that we just had an example right there for us. I might pick on Jennifer Smith more often. So she already has these on here, which is great. Let me find someone for us who does not have these. Actually, let's just add a new person. So if you, very, very common if you're in this boat, like you're new to KV Core or you might be experts. I'm not sure where you're at. And so some people are hesitant to add search alerts or market reports or whatever because they want to know what they look like first. So one, I just showed them to you. So there's that. Two, all of our support articles have very good visual examples of what all these things look like. So, here is the support article on market reports. So I'll put this in the chat for those of you who are here live. But okay, let's learn about the market reports and okay, where can I find them? And as I scroll down so that they can sign up for them on your website. And then here's what it looks like, right? And here's what's going to be included in the market report, right? So there's a lot of good visuals in our support articles. So if you want to know what's in here, we have that. And I'm kind of scrolling because we're going to do this together in just a minute. All right, so let me find someone who doesn't have them. So that's someone who did. Let me backtrack about 30 seconds. In Jennifer's lead detail record, on the right-hand side, I like to call this the action center. I mean, it does say actions, but here's what you're going to do. I'm going to call Jennifer. I'm going to schedule a call for the future. I'm going to send her a core video. So these are the things that I am doing. And as I scroll down on the right-hand side, I can see the things that KV Core is doing for me. So right here, these are the big three, right? I can see, yes, she is on a search alert. And yes, she is on an active smart campaign. And yes, she's getting not one, but two of market reports sent to her. So I can see all of that right from here. Now, if she's on a search alert and I either want to add a new one or edit the one that she's on, I can do that. So if we go to edit the alert that she's already on, it's going to show me, okay, here we go. She's got a round 3 results, right? And she's in my sphere. And so this might be okay, but she's in my sphere and she's like, I don't really need that email from you once a week. And you say, no worries, let me edit this, right? You're in my sphere, so you only want it to come twice a month or maybe monthly because you're also getting those market reports. So yeah, no problem. Let's just send you a monthly report instead. So I can just make that change. I chose to draw the area on a map for her, so I can always go back and view exactly like the polygon that I put for her. I can go in here and I can like move the corners. Like, oh, I can't believe I forgot like this little nugget of properties there. And so and that's easier to do on a mouse. I'm just going to tell you, if I was on a laptop trackpad, moving those little dots is a little tricky. So if you're going to do that, I would do it with a mouse personally. And then, so yeah, we expanded that a little bit. Or, she really likes the eucalyptus trail grove. So let's, put the trailhead in there. Perfect. And apply that new selection, right? So we just gave her a little bit more in her listings to look at. We're going to send it a little bit less frequently. Cool. I can make other changes here too. So like the fun thing that Brett likes to do, one of our senior trainers, is if he has people on search alerts who haven't responded in a while, he just comes in here and he like adds a pool or remove something, like not for your actual clients, but for like those prospects that aren't really talking to you anyway. He just goes and like switches things up because they notice. It's kind of funny. He's funny like that. So there we go. Now I'm going to update my alert, and I could even send it to her right now. So I could save and send, but she said she's getting too many. So I'm just going to update this. Right. And we're still getting 3 results. We didn't add any new properties in, and that's okay. So that's how you would edit one. You could also add a second alert so everyone can have up to 2 alerts. Jennifer, when she goes to my website, so as Jennifer here, I could also add my own search. So I could do my own search and save that and have like, so I can make my own search as well. So I have that option as a consumer. All right, let's look at the active campaign. So she's in my out of area sphere of influence campaign. I took our sphere of influence campaign, I cloned it and made just a couple changes to it. She's out of my area. And I can click on that and I can pause it. Like, let's say she's going on vacation. So I just want to pause that campaign. I don't want to like waste my outreach, if I know that she's gone. So I can pause this. Pro tip, if you pause a campaign, immediately add a task for yourself to turn it back on. Don't expect yourself to remember. That's just silliness, right? It's like when you put something in a special place to remember and then you don't know where your keys are. Maybe it's just me, but add a task always. If there's anything you want to remember to do, I task myself like everything in here. I don't depend on my own brain. Yeah, I can't remember who it is. I think it's the author of Get Stuff Done or Getting Stuff Done. But he says, like, your brain is for the having of ideas. It is not for the holding of the ideas. And I love that. And I really relate to that. So, don't make yourself remember things. So I can pause my campaign. I can restart it from the beginning. Maybe I reach out to Jennifer and she goes, "Oh, I never check that email." Like, "Oh, look, I even put there's one N and her name has two. So maybe one of these is wrong." And so no problem. Let me update that email. And then I'm actually going to restart this from the beginning, right? Or I can just completely remove it. Maybe in my sphere, I'm choosing to manually work my sphere instead of having a lot of it done for me. So I'm just going to remove it. I could also add additional campaigns. Maybe I have multiple sphere campaigns. Maybe I have some campaigns that don't actually have a trigger point to them. Maybe I turned the campaign on after she was already in KV Core. So for whatever reason, maybe I need to go back and add a campaign. And I can just add that and we're good. And then my market reports. So my market reports, she's on 2. I don't actually know if we have a maximum here. I would assume that we do. I've added 5 on my demos. And it didn't stop me. So you can do at least 5. But just be mindful of like how many emails you're sending them. It does not compile them into one email. It would send 5 different market report emails. So think about yourself. Do you want to receive that? Would it be more effective to send like a county market report versus like a couple different cities? Do you want to do like the cities every month and the county like once a week or vice versa? So really kind of be mindful about how you're setting this up. And maybe I want to just like regulate my market reports to send like today is day 1. I can do that on market reports. And I can do that on search alerts too. If I click save and send, today is day 1. So same thing with my market reports. If I click send now, it's going to send this right now, put it at the top of her inbox. And then there we go. Now it was just reset. So my next scheduled report is going to go in 7 days. And I love it's blocked out. It's not going to let me like accidentally spam Jennifer with a whole bunch of market reports, which is great. All right, you can add new ones here manually. So you'll pick your location. So same location, so city, area, and neighborhood. That's for everyone. And for my US users, it's county and zip code. And my Canadian users, it's postal code and province. Okay, so I'm going to pick the city of Carlsbad. Type that in. I can do the area. I can do the neighborhood, all kinds of neighborhoods. There we go, just pick one. And then decide how often this report is going to get sent. So I might do this every once a month and add that in. And then same thing, I can reset and do it today. Today is day 1. So that's how to kind of edit what's already there. Now let's go ahead and look at our filters and see who's missing this communication. So if I click on my filters, there's a lot of filters in here. I am sure we have done a deep dive on all the filters. And if not, maybe I will next week. I'm actually going to look at our history right now and see if we have that. I would think that we do. And if not, that's kind of one. CRM filters with lead engagement. Yeah, I might do one like just do a deep dive on all the filters. I'm gonna write that down. Okay, so lots of filters, lots of things that you can look for. So you have like the status of your contacts, you have the contact details like buyer, seller, are they subscribed, are they unsubscribed? What hashtags do they have? Do they not have any hashtags? I can look at my behavior, which is what we're going to spend our time on, and then who is interested in a certain property. So like this is powered up based on search alerts. So if I look at behavior, there's lots of good stuff in here, but you'll notice our big three. Who has search alerts? Who does not have search alerts? Who has market reports? Who does not have market reports? Who does not have a running campaign? So as you're thinking about powering up your automations, I want you to think about who doesn't have search alerts, who should have them, right? Because if I just look for no search alerts, I'm going to get a lot of people with no search alerts. And honestly, that's fine, right? If I don't want to get like too into the weeds, this is fine, right? Okay, here's my list of people not on search alerts. I have 39, so I've got some work to do to add alerts to them. If I want to get more specific, cool, just add more filters in here. So for example, search alerts, I'm going to personally add in some contact details here. I'm going to add that they should be a buyer or a renter. Like, I don't care, like this agent, Marielle, I don't care that she's not on search alerts. This person's a renter also, but if this was just a vendor, that would be fine. So I'm going to add that little extra layer under the details of buyers and renters as well. Let's scroll down and apply that filter. And there we go. I just cut 12 people off. So now I've got 27 people don't have search alerts, and I want them to have search alerts. You could narrow even further. So for example, I really just want maybe I just want these people on, like clients. I might have them on the MLS anyway, so yeah, it's fine. And yeah, so I'm going to apply that. And I cut even more people off, right? So, okay, this is the list that like really should have search alerts. So once I decide what that list looks like for me, then I'm going to save this list, right? This is my action needed list. So it needs power up, needs search alerts, buyers, renters, no alert, whatever you want to call it, right? So I'm going to save that filter. And so now as I'm like working my workflow in KV Core, I log in, I do my dashboard, I come to my smart CRM and I do some work. That work today is going to be looking up my saved filter, and I need to clean this out. So there's my buyers and renters with no alerts. So there's my list of people with no alerts. Now we have a whole webinar, which I will pop into the chat for you, called Every Way to Add a Search Alert. So I'm not going to go into every single way to add a search alert because there's a couple different ways. Let's put that in the chat. If you have specific questions, I will absolutely answer that. But you can see there's lots of ways that you can do it. So now that you see who is not on a search alert, you can choose to individually add an alert. You can choose to mass add an alert, or you can choose to direct them back to your site with some kind of link or value add and just kind of hope that they do it themselves. So high level, that's how you do it. That video I just sent in the chat will show you like actually really how to do it. And again, if there's specific questions, I will definitely answer them. But let's do our next filter. So our next filter, we're going to go down to the behavior. And this time we're going to see who doesn't have a market report, right? And so same thing, I'm going to apply that. Where do I start? 109 people without market reports. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit more specific. Like my renter, vendor, like I don't necessarily mind about them. So I specifically want all of my sellers to be on a market report. So let's apply that, see what happens. 25, okay. So save that. Sellers, no market reports. Save that. Now I could do something different too. Like that's one avenue of people who should have market reports, but maybe my other avenue is that all of my sphere should be on market reports. Big hint for you. That is part of your Sphere Smart campaign anyway, right? To put them on a market report. So Sphere absolutely should be on a market report. So let's look at our Sphere, go to behavior, does not have a market report, and save that. So now this will be different. Sphere, no market report. Oh, and apparently I already have that name, so I just add a bunch of symbols that makes a new name. Cool, 30 people. Right now, market reports, really the best ways to add them are individually, like we just looked at, or to send them an email to do it themselves with like a squeeze page link. And that's covered in the article that I chatted out to you about the market reports, how to add that in with a squeeze page link. So again, if you have a question, I will absolutely review that with you, but I want to leave some time for like some open Q&A as well. Right, and last but not least, before we do, my kind of tip for search alerts and market reports, add as many as you can at one time. Just get them on the follow-up, get them on the automation, power those people up, right? You can go back in and edit later. You can add that as like part of your own follow-up. You know, I'm going to add 100 people to a search alert, and then tomorrow I'm going to text them all and see if they got my email, and then I'm going to call them the day after that. And then a week later, I'm going to check in with them and see if they're liking the things that I'm sending them. Right. And then I just let the automation do its thing. Right. So just put as many people as you want at a time on market reports and search alerts. Smart campaigns, the third of our big three, different advice. Same way to find them though. So you go to your filters, you go down to your behavior and see who's not on a smart campaign. And let's apply that. And I have 140 people who are going to forget me. Like I'm not doing any real outreach. I'm nurturing them. I'm sending them search alerts, but I'm not engaging with them in any way. And engagement is how you build relationships. So I have 140 people who will forget me and will very likely pick a different agent. Search alerts are not enough. So I have some work to do. Now here, my advice is different. Here, the amount of people you should add per day is however many people you think you could call in one day, right? So if I could, with my workflow, I can only call 10 people a day, then I'm only going to add 10 people to a search alert each day because it's the same schedule. So if I add 100 people today, in a week, I'm going to have 100 people to call. So set yourself up for success. Only add the amount of people you can call each day. So that could be 20, it could be 50, it could be 100, but just ask yourself that question. How many people could I call each day? Okay, get that number in your head. That's how many people you add to a smart campaign each day. So here I have my 140 people. So I could add all of them. You know, these are all fine. I might get more specific. Like I personally, I don't have a special client smart campaign. I just have kvCOREs. And so I don't actually use it personally. And so I don't need my clients on a smart campaign. If I have my own that I've tailored and I've made, I might feel differently, but I don't. So I'm going to, again, add just my little difference. And now that cuts me down to 133. So this I will save, needs smart campaign, and save that filter. Right, so 133. So I can click on status and kind of organize it by that. I could go in and like just delete the other one, just look at my new leads and add like that. And so now that I have my, even more specific list, I've got this active buyer. So yeah, let's organize it by status. And I've got all these new leads. So I can like individually click on people, and I can go to more actions, and I can mass add a campaign from here. If I'm triggering a smart campaign with a hashtag, I could do that, mass add a hashtag. If I would rather call these people first and then add a smart campaign, then I add that task for myself, call them and add a smart campaign. Right, let's do that tomorrow. Call, caps lock is on. Nope, now it's on. Oh, call and add a smart campaign, right? Add that task. So now, tomorrow, when I log in, I'm going to be tasked to call all of these people and add them to a smart campaign. Okay, so that's how you power up your automations. Now, it's not something you have to do all the time. It is something to keep an eye out on. A lot of your new leads coming in will already be powered up. Okay, so if you go to the marketplace and you purchase smart social leads, they will enter into kvCORE with a search alert and a smart campaign. If you click get seller leads, they will enter kvCORE with a smart campaign and a home valuation report, which is similar to a market report. If you purchase Nosy Neighbor, there's a specific Nosy Neighbor smart campaign. So these will come in powered up. It's still a good idea to keep an eye on it though, right? Bugs happen. Let's example, you go to the lead engine and you connect in outside lead sources that you have. Lots of those will come in and trigger our new lead buyer or new lead seller smart campaign. So powered up. A lot of the buyer leads will come in with enough data that we can add search alerts automatically, powered up, but not all of them. Or sometimes there's a bug, like let's say you've connected Zillow and they all come in powered up, and then maybe Zillow changes their programming or we change our programming or something, and then all of a sudden your Zillow leads don't have a search alert. So one, reach out to support and tell us, and two, just go in and add an alert for them, right? But you won't know unless you're kind of keeping an eye on that. So most of your new leads come in powered up. So I just want to let you know that. I hope I should have said that in the beginning. I hope I didn't scare anyone. Really, it's if you do your bulk import that you'll need to power people up, or if you like turned off your smart campaigns, you'll need to turn them on and power people up, or different things like that. So these three smart campaign or these three automations make everything else more powerful. So I want you to think about how many people you want to add automation to every day. Again, it can be 5, 10, 50, 25, 100. Pick a number. Search alerts and market reports, add them all. Add them all. Smart campaigns, kind of want to pace yourself. Create and save a filter in your smart CRM for a targeted audience to ensure your automations are in place. So your prospects, your new leads, and your active leads that don't have market reports. Your prospects, new leads, and active leads who are company owned that don't have a smart campaign. your sphere, who are sellers, AKA homeowners, that don't have market reports, right? We looked at buyers and renters with no search alerts. So look at your filters, decide who should be powered up, save filters for who's missing, and then plug the holes. So any questions for me, either on powering up or on anything else? If you raise your hand, I will unmute you, or you can put things into the chat, as some of you have been doing. Alrighty, Eileen, go for it. Take it away.
You want me to
There
put
you
in
are.
the text?
Either one.
I want to.
I can hear you now, Eileen.
Okay, I wanted to know where you get all these leads.
Yeah, great question. So there are a lot of ways to generate leads. So you can get leads. So let's just take a quick tour of like our lead engine and the marketplace. So we have our bulk import. So the bulk import is where you take all the contacts that you currently have. So that could be downloading your Gmail, downloading your iPhone, going to your title rep and getting a title report. So anything that's like a spreadsheet or a database, like a big list of leads, so people that you already know, or title or something like that, and bring that list into us. So that's one way to add leads into KV Core. Another way is to go to the lead drop box. So the lead drop box is lead sources, again, that you're already utilizing, and adding those into KV Core. So we have a whole list of lead sources that we support. So that's not the right list. Let me find the list. There we go. So we have a whole list of lead sources that we support. So if you already are utilizing these, or you want to utilize them in the future, tons and tons of lead sources here that you can just connect into KV Core. Now, when it comes to new leads, you want to decide if you are going to go with the free lead gen tools, which are here. These are going to take more time and effort from you, but they're free to use. You can use them as often as you want. Or you can go to the marketplace and do the takes no time, but does take some money solution. So if you want to go that route, we have lots of products for you here to choose. We even have a webinar once a week specifically going over marketplace options, because all these products are different. They're different in their length. They're different in whether or not there's a contract commitment. They're different in their cost. They're different in the amount of leads you can expect. They are different in the leads that they're going to target. So for example, let's look at like two ends of our spectrum here. Property Boost. Property Boost is where you advertise one specific property at a time. You can do a bunch of boosts. Like I could boost 5 different properties, but each property has its own individual ad. This is the least expensive item for lead generation. So I can do a 3-day boost. So advertise one property for 3 days and it's $45. Statistically, we see like 8 to 10 leads from each property boost. You can also go all the way up to a month. That one's, I think it's 250. And I don't remember how many leads you expect from there. It's all in the products if you wanted to look at it, or we could do that together. And so those people are a very low cost per lead. Those people sometimes don't even realize that they clicked on something to talk to a real estate agent. So they tend to be either low intent in the beginning or at the longer stage of their buyer pipeline, right? So the buyer pipeline is how long is it going to take you to be a lead to actually close a deal, right? So in internet leads are from 6 to 18 months. So Property Boost, you will get some people closer to their target date, but more of them are going to be a little further out. So that's Property Boost. So you wanted to know the average leads. Let me look at that. Oh, my demo account, I have to kind of go a little sideways into Property Boost because I'm not a real agent. So let me just go that sideways way. There we go. So Property Boost, there we go. If you get the bigger package, statistically 40 to 50 leads. It's different depending on what's happening in your market and what property you're boosting and things like that. So nothing's guaranteed, but it's about that many. Oh, yeah, good call out, Eileen. So when you do a Property Boost, we will show you the agent, the analytics of, and your seller too. So if this is your listing and you want to add your seller information down here, we'll tell them like how many people are seeing your property. So there is a difference between impressions and clicks and leads. So impressions are how many people have viewed the ad. This ad specifically goes onto Facebook. So this is going to show, I think Instagram, definitely Facebook. So this is going to show you what is populating or how many people have kind of like scrolled past. So for example, on my Facebook, when I log in just as a regular consumer and I scroll around, I have, my feed, I have posts from friends, I have friend suggestions, and then I have a sponsored ad from Tom Ferry in this case. Oh, didn't want to click, go back. See, and then as I scroll down, I'll see other things as well. I'll see other ads, things like that. So an impression is who scrolled by your ad, who saw it, who saw the property, who saw your name, if it's your, if you chose to sync your Facebook page. So who's just kind of scrolling by. Clicks are the people like I just accidentally clicked on that ad. So who's actually clicking on the ad? And then a lead is actually approving their information. Now with the Property Boost, it's pretty cool because it is, it allows you to, the way the Facebook lead capture form is, it's called progressive lead ad. And so, or lead capture. So it autofills, actually it's not progressive, that's our other thing, but it autofills with their Facebook information. So they don't even have to put information in, it just autofills and they click yes. So we get a really, 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 really high percentage of accurate information because they don't have to put in themselves, it autofills. So that's kind of one extreme. Lower investment cost to you, no commitment as far as like how many times you have to run that ad. And then on the other end is Nosy Neighbor. I personally love Nosy Neighbor, but it's not financially an option for some people because it's a much more in-depth advertising experience. So Nosy Neighbor, you would purchase a zip code. We only sell a zip code to one person at a time. So there's no like possible cross-contamination. Whereas Property Boost, if you and other agents in your office all purchase a Property Boost, you all have listings, you might be advertising to the same person, right? Because that's where they live. So Nosy Neighbor, there's no cross-contamination. You purchase a zip code, you can purchase many if you want. And so we monitor that zip code for you. And then as a listing goes live, we then target the neighbors, right? The Nosy Neighbor. And so we will target them with emails, with online ads, and with postcards and other mailers. So all kinds of communication is going out there. Now, Nosy Neighbor contacts, so those are your neighbors, and then they opt in and say, yes, I want to talk to an agent. And so those are then your contacts. So those people have high intent because they have actually said, yes, give me a real estate agent. Yes, let's talk about real estate. This is a much more expensive package that you're going to purchase. There is also a time commitment because if there's like less listings right now, you don't want to give up after 1 week. So I can put in the zip code that I'm interested in, check the availability. Cool, it's available. And it gives me the data here. So 160 listings in the last last 30 days with an average sales price of over $1 million. And so if I'm targeting those neighbors, that's that's a lot of people that are seeing my name, which is pretty dang cool. And I can do a 6-month commitment with a setup fee, or I can do a year-long commitment with no setup fee, right? And it's pretty cool. If I was an agent and I had the money, I would absolutely do Nosy Neighbor. That would be something that I would do, because this is how, like, I would be a territory management person. That's just how my mind works. So this is something I would do if I was an agent. Now, a good question came in from Annie. By purchasing these packages, would you have to be the listing agent? So, like, if I went and did Property Boost, for example. So Property Boost is the only thing on here that's advertising a specific property. So that's one thing to note. The other thing to note is kvCORE, the technology, doesn't care if you're the listing agent. I can go and I can do a Property Boost for all kinds of listings. They don't even have to be from my brokerage. However, you are responsible for knowing the compliance things in your area and what your broker policy is. I don't know that for you. So if you aren't sure what the rules are for you, definitely go and ask your board and or your broker or manager. Everyone has kind of like different rules. One brokerage, I won't name names, says, yeah, you could any listing by any of our agents, free game. Other brokerages, their rule is more dialed down. So kvCORE wise, advertise as many as you want. Compliance wise, please check with your board and your broker. And a good rule of thumb, no matter what the legal rules are, is always ask permission and do it in writing. So text or email. Hey, like, hey, Annie, congrats on your new listing. Are you okay? Can I advertise and promote your listing? Some listing agents are like, heck yeah, you're going to spend money to close my deal and I don't have to deal with buyers. Please do. And some are like, nope, I am very dialed in on how I advertise my listings. Please don't advertise my listings. So you want to be respectful of that as well. But as far as the legality and the technical aspects, there you go. All right, well, that is the end of our time. Eileen and everyone, so you have lots and lots of marketplace questions. There is a weekly marketplace webinar that you can take. And these are, like, I'm fairly well versed in the marketplace. I would say I'm an expert in kvCORE in general. These people are experts in the marketplace. So I am going to put this link into the chat for you. There you go. And you can sign up for any date and any time that makes sense for you. All right, well, thank you all for coming. Again, I'm Christina Hampton, and I am usually here on Thursdays. Marielle is usually here on Tuesdays, and Heather is usually here on Wednesdays. We do switch it up every now and then, but that's generally where we're at. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Check into our Facebook group and or our YouTube channel to find the recording, and I'll see you all online. Thank you.